personally was not involved in the Mogadishu affairs in the initial stages. If I remember correctly, the Supreme Council started writing to Mogadishu somewhere in October, requesting them to let us know what was the position and whether they needed any assistance. I personally got involved sometimes in mid-December. Through my sources in Mombasa, I came to know that the situation in Mogadishu was going to become worse day by day. The magnitude of the civil strife which was going to be there was going to be of a magnitude never seen before. And so I started taking interest. I'll be very brief. I was first called on the 4th of February at a function and advised that about 17 members of our community had arrived on the first Italian evacuation flight. It was about 10:30, 11 p.m. I rushed to the airport, got the people released, and the people who had come in on the flight advised us that the situation was very bad and we had to do something. Fortunately, the honorary counsel at that time, or presently, was a very good friend of mine. He had just been recently appointed Captain Esposito. He's a shipping man. I knew him, or I know him for about 12 to 15 years. That gave me a direct connection with people involved in the evacuation. I was in regular contact with him. On the second flight, we fortunately got 24 members of our community. We organized and arranged through Captain Esposito for a allocation of about 75 to 100 seats for our community. When the third flight arrived, we were expecting to get at least 75 members. We found there was no one. That was the time when I decided that we now have to move. It was impossible to send an aircraft because no aircraft would go there in this situation. The only way out was evacuation by sea. Monday, 7th of January, when the third flight arrived, after a lot of thinking, I thought that we had to go by sea and get the people out. So I started looking for Captain Esposito, with whom I wanted to discuss this issue. I got him at midnight, we discussed, and he also agreed it was best to start and go by sea. He suggested a vessel, MV Ambassador 1. The managing director of that company was staying at his house. We agreed to meet the next day at 9 a.m. We thought it viable, so I chartered the vessel in principle. I called Ashraf with 2 people who had just come from Mogadishu. We had a detailed discussion and the vessel was chartered in principle. Came to my office, made 3 calls. I had the financial banking required and started looking for volunteers. I got the volunteers I required. Within a day, we planned, organized, prepared details. Dr. Hussain helped me a lot in medical requirements. And I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday was passed in preparations, planning, purchases, organization, all of the details. We were supposed to initially sail on Thursday at 2. On Thursday at about 3 o'clock, I was told that 40% of the crew had resigned and the chief engineer had also resigned, so we'll sail at 10 o'clock. I think we sailed from Mombasa on Thursday at 10 p.m. We arrived in Mogadishu on Saturday at 11:45. Immediately contacted the Italian frigate, talked to them. They put us in touch with the Italian embassy, requested the Italian embassy to arrange safe passage of our people. They came back, told us that the ambassador was negotiating it. While this thing was going on, I think my brother called me, picked up his phone on the radio. He told me the Italian ambassador was leaving and the embassy was being closed. I could not believe him because we had been told that the Italian ambassador was negotiating on our behalf. I challenged him. I said, you are wrong. He was right. At 6:15, we were notified the Italian ambassador had gone. The embassy was closed. The negotiation halfway. That was the only connection we had. We depended on the Italian embassy. When they left, we were very disappointed. And the frigate also told us that they were getting instructions to move out that night. We became very desperate. I called my brother. I told him, whatever happens, whatever the time, stop the frigate from going. Otherwise, there's nothing we can do. I don't know what he did. He says he got in touch with everybody. Fortunately, the next day we found a frigate, still there, a small one. The next day, my brother told me that the Italian ambassador had arranged so the lifeboat should proceed to the new harbor at 9 a.m. with a white flag and the Pakistani flag. We got organized. The lifeboat was in the waters at 8:15. At 8:30, the Italian frigate suggested us against going to the new harbor and said that it would be better if we landed where the Libyans could receive us. They organized with the rebels, and the rebels agreed to receive us at a point which they were going to notify. In the meantime, our lifeboat had been in water for about 4 or 5 hours. The engine ceased. We had only one lifeboat with an engine. While we were trying to take the lifeboat aboard, one of the crew members let the rope go away. So we had a lifeboat in high seas with 2 members without an engine and the ship moving at full speed ahead. We had to turn the ship back, try to get the lifeboat, which we did, and took us a lot of time. When the second lifeboat was launched, we found that there was a mechanical problem in it. So that had to be repaired. Anyhow, to cut the things short, I think the second lifeboat got ready at about 5:30. And the rebels up to that time were insisting that they could not escort us the next day, we had to go the same day. At about 5:45, the rebels, we were able to convince the rebels to receive us next day at 7:30, and we were able to communicate for the first time with our Jamaat. Having communicated with the Jamaat and receiving an agreement from the rebels to escort us or receive us the next day, I thought we should now not send the boat. However, I was advised it would be better if the boat proceeded, because most of the work was to be done at night, and if we went that night, we would be able to move at least 250 to 300 people and bring them to the ship in the morning. We decided to do it. At that time, I decided also to go ashore. So while I was going on board, members convinced me not to do it, and they proceeded. The boat was sent to the shore through the radar guidance from the ship. They landed at the exact spot, but the rebels in the meantime, thinking that we are not coming, had left. After that, we tried to locate the sites, and the boat ran aground. So we had a team of 7 volunteers ashore, boat aground, rebels gone. We tried to get the rebels back to come and at least guard the people. Rebels had taken up the position, it was not possible for them to come. At 11 o'clock, when we could not refill the boat, it was decided that they should remain in the boat. That was my worst night in the whole episode. What I didn't tell most of the people, and which I knew, was because the volunteers were not guarded, they faced danger from bandits, were fully armed, and I'd been warned to warn these people that they should not move out of the boat. I think most of them don't know this till today. We agreed we will communicate again at 3 o'clock in the morning. We communicated at 3 o'clock, tried to refloat the boat at 4. It was not possible. At 7:30, they were received by the rebels. 2 of them went into Mogadishu, just opposite our mosque. They could not go to the mosque because there was heavy fighting. This was Monday. They came back and notified us on the radio that it was not possible, that they would try to go again at night. We had communication from Mogadishu Jamaat through the port. They were able to go to the port, get the port open, and come on the radio. Mogadishu people advised me it was not possible for them to organize transport because there was no diesel, there was no boat, there was nothing. We at that time expected to refloat the boat because the Italian Navy was also helping us and sent 2 boats from the Navy to try and refloat our boat. So the expectations were that the boat would be refloated by 4. So I agreed with Mogadishu that they call me back at 6, or we get in communication at 6. At 4 we could not refloat the boat. Before the 3 o'clock I lost communication with our boat. The battery had gone, so they could not come on the VHF. So now we were communicating through the rebels. Up to 5 we could not refloat the boat. The Italian frigate had to go to the Gulf. It left and told us that the boat should be out within 15 minutes. The boat did not come out. At 6, when Mogadishu people called me, or we talked, I told them that we don't have a boat. I had to tell them, because they were still saying that it was not possible, they might not be able to come. They were shooting. I told them, my friends, death will come only if it is written for you. Nobody is going to die unless it is written. And if 4 or 5 of you die to save 1,000 people, nothing is lost. I said, I have got 7 people who are ashore with whom I can't communicate. You have to move out, you have to make arrangements. Otherwise, I'm leaving tomorrow night, midnight. My fuel is running out, I don't have time. You either go tomorrow or we leave. That made them move. They said, we talk again at 8 o'clock. Within 2 hours, when I talked at 8 o'clock, they'd found the boat, they'd found the diesel, they'd found the boatmen, and they said, we are coming tomorrow. 6:30, the first boat will arrive. We had a lot of promises. Every day we thought next day would be good. Got up early, 6:30, nothing happened. 8:30, before I go to that, after they told me at 8 o'clock, when the frigate left, they put us in direct communication on the radio with the rebels. They gave us the frequency, so we're in direct communication. After they talked to me at 8 o'clock, I was somehow able to convince the rebel leader not to start the shooting from their side in the morning. He finally, with reluctance, he agreed not to do it till 11. He said, after 11, we'll start our normal. So when at 8:30, Mogadishu Jamaat members came on the line and they told me that they were moving out in groups from the mosque. I told them, please forget about groups. Get everybody out of the mosque. Go to the port. It is very, very important that all of you get out. Before 10 o'clock, the mosque should be empty. They immediately went to the mosque, got everybody out. Told me that they'll notify me when the first boat leaves. They didn't, I don't know, I think they got busy organizing to move everybody out. At about 8:45, we saw a white tugboat coming. That was the first tugboat which came in with 65 people.
Excuse me.